Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we got the 7.35D updated carry tier list. I only got 2 heroes in the S tier here today, so 2 major standouts, and we'll talk about why. And only 1 in the E rank. I did try to sort order the rest of the ranks as well, like from top to bottom, to give you guys a pretty clear idea of what I think about the meta. And so without further ado, let's get into the E rank, spend a little bit of time talking about the worst carry of the patch, and then get into the best 2 at the end. And keep in mind, this tier list is designed for pubs primarily. Obviously, I have a little bit of pro influence. I have my own pub influence as well, but I try to keep it primarily for pub matchmaking, right? For your average game, let's say like from literally 0 MMR to around 6k MMR. Okay, starting off with the E tier, we have Templar Assassin. Yeah, I think this is the worst carry in the game, on average. Now, hear me out. So the heroes, in terms of worst win rates in all of Dota, we have Terrorblade, Templar Assassin, and Monkey King. Now, I put TA at the literal worst because I think that this hero is just, not only is it hard, it's not very rewarding. And what's funny is, it got buffed last patch. Meld got 30 damage at max level, but this isn't that big, right? I mean, yeah, it's gonna help you finish off kills. It's not nothing. And it's funny because you will see TA picked at a pro level. For instance, Team Liquid likes picking this for Mickey in the carry role. However, you're also gonna see heroes like Monkey King and Phantom Assassin picked in the carry role. But Dota's a niche game. Obviously, you can always pick certain heroes in certain roles, but Templar Assassin, the payoff is just not there. The laning stage, very unreliable. It has certain matchups that are just pretty unplayable. Death Prophet, Viper, very, very unplayable. Brewmaster, right? You just generally won't dominate the Brewmaster, and he can solo kill you when he hits level 6, and solo kill you in the mid game as well once he hits Radiance. That matchup is very, very hard. And there's just a lot of examples of this where I just don't think the hero is necessarily the best in lane. I think in terms of laning, it's way better as a mid because it's a very level-reliant hero. It needs to get its spells maxed. A lot of heroes don't necessarily need this. PL doesn't need 14 level points to feel good about where he is. TA does. And then in terms of scaling, she just gets outscaled by most carries. That's the reality of the hero. You get to 40 minutes into the game, and yeah, the hero has fallen off. It's a very tempo-based carry, and tempo is hard in pubs. It's not the best high ground siege hero either, and so it's not easy, it's not safe, it doesn't, like, it flash farms, but it's not nearly rewarding as something like a Luna, and so it's just not the hero. Then we have Monkey King. I think this is mostly a difficulty thing, and also an item thing. I think the way to go on Monkey King right now is the trend for Gleipnir. People are going Gleipnir Monkey King, and I've actually theory crafted this for a while, because it just makes sense, it keeps people in Wukong, but it's just generally too hard. Then we have Ursa, who, it's like Monkey King, you can win certain lanes, and that's the value of these heroes. But other than that, they're not flash farmers, they're easy to gank, they don't siege, and so they're hard to win with. Then we have Shadow Fiend, who got buffed last patch, but I still think it's a carry. He's too susceptible to getting ganked, and that's his main downfall. He dies just to too many rotations. Any synergized go generally kills him. It's very hard to play Shadow Fiend, and the scaling isn't worth it. I'd rather play one of the S tier heroes, actually. Okay, then we have Clinks, who, I don't know, it's an interesting carry. You don't really see it a lot. It's a good roamer. It's like a discount Riggy. Then we have Phantom Assassin, who a lot of people think Phantom Assassin is like B tier, A tier. I'm sure some people would even argue S tier. I just don't think it's the case. I think Phantom Assassin just struggles too much. It's not a good laner. Has some decent pairings with like Undying, for instance, but it's generally not a good laner. If it falls behind, it's terrible. It doesn't push out waves, and it doesn't jungle. It doesn't have real mobility. Like Phantom Strike is not a true disengage spell. So I'm just super anti-PA, and now they nerfed the Revenant's Brooch build. You can't even crit with Revenant's Brooch, which was a main selling point for the hero. They just got rid of it. So yeah, I don't know what the angle is for PA. You basically have to pick it with Magnus. Then we have Terrorblade, who, to me, it's kind of a shame that it's a C tier hero. It did just get nerfed again. The hero was at close to a 50% win rate, but that was primarily as a support, right? I'm sure a lot of you guys follow that trend. I mean, first of all, they just giga nerfed that. The hero dropped like a ton of win rate after 7.35D this patch as a support, but that also obviously hits his carry. It's just a worse hero. The reason why I couldn't put this in E or D tier is it's still a pretty damn good laner, and it pushes in waves, but Terrorblade's main flaw is that it dies to nukes. It has a very low HP pool, so if you're not careful and you hit your timing, you'll just explode. And its scaling is actually not the best. It hits a very hard mid-game timing, but in terms of late game, it falls off and loses pubs to certain heroes. Then we have Sniper, better mid laner, very similar to TA, just too easily gankable. Muerta, I just think that the hero isn't strong enough right now. I think Maelstrom being in a good place, even though it just got nerfed, makes this hero like semi-viable, which is why it's not D tier, but nah. Then we have Ricky, who has a very good win rate, And maybe for the sake of like talking about your average pub, I should put it higher, because how Ricky functions is he needs kills to snowball. If he doesn't get kills, he's terrible. He can't really farm. He can't farm. He kills lane creeps like okay because of backstab. But you need kills. It's laning mid-tier. Its scaling is okay. It's okay. Like the shard is kind of cool, but I'm such a Ricky hater. Its win rate's pretty good. You can play it, but I just think it's like a bad carry to learn, in my opinion. All right, getting into the B tier, the bottom of the B tier, we have Marcy. I think with IO specifically, it's really good. I talked about this with a friend recently, and it's also something that Quest does, where they pair it with IO, and then you have like Overcharge plus Marcy's E, and it's like really funny how much damage you deal. It's like really crazy. So big fan of that combo. I think the hero's a decent carry. You go like Armlet Ags or like Armlet BKB, or some people go Battle Fury BKB or Battle Fury Ags. There's some lines, but it's a bit unclear. It's kind of hard and doesn't farm fast. Then we have Bloodseeker, who actually shot up in win rate, and I considered putting him much higher. So I will admit this is one I'm kind of on the fence on, and I actually might make a full video on soon, because there's a lot to talk about with this hero. They just recently buffed him very hard. Arguably the most buffed hero of the patch. And so actually, you know what, for the sake of the video, I'm going to put him at the top of the B tier. I'm going to make one adjustment during the video. It's going to be Bloodseeker. And the reason why is they just made it where Sange, like his self-healing he gets from Thirst, now is included in Sange. Previously it wasn't. And this was a big problem. It actually made the hero a lot worse, because you'd want to buy Sange and Yasha so you don't get chain stun so you can frontline, but it kind of didn't work. Now it does, and that was a major buff. Mjolnir, pretty good item. Obviously, Maelstrom nerf, but still strong. Then we have Lina. This hero got nerfed a little bit too hard. It's still a decent lane dominator and scales. I like Gleipnir as an item. It got buffed, so she's not C tier or D tier, but nothing crazy. Razor is a very strong Dota hero in my opinion at a high level. It requires strong understanding, but it does scale insanely well. However, you gotta be willing to buy a BKB. I even in my pubs all the time have these Razors where it's a required BKB game. Just buy a Manta and then they can't fight. Like sometimes you can go Manta, but if you're playing core and you need BKB on Razor, you have to buy BKB because the hero just has to run in. There's some like also Maelstrom variants, like Gleipnir variants of this hero I've seen that look pretty good. Maybe I'll look into that, but Sange and Yasha buffed item too. Then we have PL, who I don't think is a great hero, but if you see the right matchups, it's broken. We have Morphling, who got nerfed a little bit, but it's still a Conda buyer. Unfortunately, they just nerfed Manta, so I actually recommend going Sange and Yasha instead on this hero in most games. It's pretty strong. Then we have Weaver. I'm actually a fan of the hero. I think it has some good meta matchups. Like I think it's very good against Centaur, who just got nerfed again. I'm personally not a fan of Centaur, but I think a lot of people like Centaur, and the win rate's decent. So Weaver, very good against him. Gleipnir buyer. If they didn't nerf Maelstrom, it was a 5% nerf. I know I keep bringing up Maelstrom, but it's like, it's just the item right now. You know what I mean? Like so many heroes buy it, and it enables them really hard because Battle Fury is just not great right now. Like Battle Fury buildup is just so clunky. Cornucopia, it's just way too expensive for the laning stage, and so Battle Fury buyers are just so sus. You got to get mega impact out of them. All right, then we have Pudge. They nerfed some of his popular items, which made the hero fall off a bit, such as Veil, Helm of Nara Will, Shiva's, Shroud, right? They kind of nerfed him a ton in terms of his items, and that hurt him. Then we have Faceless Void, who got nerf. So now he's in B tier. Then we have CK, who got buff. So instead of being in C tier, he's now in B tier. Not great, but he got buffed. Then we have Abaddon, a decent pub hero, generally has a very good win rate in pubs, just because it's kind of like Wraith King, where you can be stupid and you bait the enemy team to go on you. They go on you because they're stupid, and then your team kills them all because the enemy team was stupid. Hopefully that made sense. And in terms of his items, they just nerfed Manta, which kind of hurt him a bit. Otherwise, maybe I'd put him at the top of B tier or bottom of A tier, because it is a good pub hero. It's a good laning stage. It scales reasonably well, and it's very explosive. Like these heal heroes or these survivability heroes, like Spectre, who's the next hero, tend to be very good in pubs. Then we have Spectre, not a great Dota hero, but conceptually, global presence, kills, scales, like, it's not good right now, but it's good because of how humans work. And this is always the case with Spectre, and it always kind of stays at minimum in B tier. It's very uncommon to see Spectre's win rate drop, similar to Wraith King. Then we have Alchemist next up. People struggle with this hero. It's just like kind of mechanically difficult. It doesn't necessarily scale into the Giga late game very well, but if you learn to hit the timings, like learn how to use assets properly, and just hit a god Radiance timing. And then my personal favorite build is Radiance into Sange and Yasha. Sange and Yasha, very buffed item as of late, and I think Alk is like one of the best buyers in the game with it because he likes the HP, he likes the status resist, and he gets the amp healing, which works super well with Chem Rage. Then, of course, you go into like Blink, AC, Abyssal, BKB if you need it. and the hero can own. All right, now getting to the A tier, we have Sven, who has actually a pretty bad pump win rate. This maybe is a little bit of bias for the high tier scene, just because Sven is like, you know, a Team Falcons hero, which, you know, as I said, this is supposed to be a pub hero, but it's just like the Sven Ags build is clean, man. It's funny because the Ags seems like such a gimmick, but then you see it in practice and it just lets Sven not get kited. It also gives him a bit of extra nuke damage in the early game. It has 180 damage to the stun, and it's pretty strong. So the Sven hero, it's just not bad, right? Pretty strong hero, gets in, front lines. It's a very reliable laner, and I think it's liked against a lot of the meta heroes. For instance, like it's easy to lane against Mars. It buys BKB against Mars. Like a lot of the stun offlaners that are popular, Sven's pretty good against just because he buys BKB. Right? He doesn't like explode to double edge or like some nuke combo that a lot of agi carries do in the early game. Then we have Naga Siren, who is like a perpetual A tier hero. Frankly, I think Naga is like a perpetual top of A tier, bottom of S tier hero. I think conceptually Naga is just stupid. If you get a decent Naga game, it's a nightmare. If it's a perfect Naga game, it's close to unplayable if the person knows what they're doing. Like, Naga is just a goofy hero. It's like Spectre. It doesn't play like Spectre, but it's like, it's just one of those Dota concepts where it's like global vision is OP. That's like what Spectre does. That's what Naga does. It's just, you see everything all the time. Like, it's just too hard to get the jump. Even if you do, you probably can't kill her. It's just so annoying. The key to this hero to beating it is like outlasting it, essentially. It kind of falls off. And so there's that. But Bloodthorn is such a good item. You know what I mean? They like made Bloodthorn this great Naga item because the procs work with illusions. It's just like, thankfully they nerfed Manta, but still. Then we have Animage, who like you'd think is terrible because Battle Fury is not good. I think it's not good. Manta just got nerfed. So how is AM still a 52% win rate hero? I think it's just the scaling, man. Like the Ags build is what's become popular, and it is really annoying to play against, I will admit. This Ags AM is 8s. If you don't know what it does, you get 3 charges of this like fragment thingy, and you can send in illusions of AM. And they do like full mana burn. They're really annoying. It gives vision, and it lets AM poke and prod without having to full commit, which was previously his old issue. The AM would farm, then he'd have to commit into the fight early, and then he would just get bursted and you'd get all in. Now with the Ags, you can kind of poke and prod, get people's mana low, and then like blink in, Manta style, burn them out, and then mana void. Also, ever since they made it where BKB has a mana cost, you have the chance to burn people's mana and not let them get BKB off, which is really huge. Then we have Arc Warden, who in my opinion was previously an S tier hero, but I still think he's an A tier hero because of the natural scaling. I think Gleipnir is in a stupid good place and is the build you should generally go, even on safe lane Arc Warden, like Midas into Gleipnir. And they nerfed him a ton. Like this hero just got nerfed again. It got nerfed in the last patch. Now its numbers got nerfed on its talents, and both of its talents just got nerfed. So it's been getting hit, but like it's still the generally same hero. Like Meepo's the next hero. These cheese heroes, like I think I had Meepo in S tier last patch, but I still believe like these cheese hyper farmers are just good in pubs because they scale, they take buildings, they have ways to close out the game. Meepo evaporates buildings and takes Roche. Arc Warden can take buildings and like siege without even being there, and like instantly does it. If you lose a fight against Arc Warden, double bubble, just your racks are gone, like literally gone. Then Meepo got nerfed a bunch. Same thing as Arc Warden, just still flash farms, hits timings. Slark got nerfed super hard because they nerfed Mage Slayer and they nerfed Pounce. But the hero's still decent. Like it hits its timings, it's good against some of the meta offlaners. Then we have Juggernaut, who has Healing Ward, and I think Healing Ward is just a good pop ability. This hero gets kills in the laning stage because, you know, people mess up, they get spinned on. Healing Ward is just really good if you know how to use it. Like if you know how to use this ability, it's just strong. And in terms of the items, I'm a big fan of Mjolnir, as you guys know, nerfed. Believe it or not, Mjolnir got nerfed. Maelstrom got nerfed. Did you know? Did I say it this video? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't remember. But yeah, Mjolnir is good. You rush Mjolnir because Battle Fury is mid tier, and then you go for Sanjin Yasha, right? And this item's hyper buff, as we've been talking about. And then you go like Diffusal Blade into Ags, and you do so much damage. It's easy to stay on top of people, and the hero has good talents. Then we have Medusa. I just think Medusa is a very reliable, strong carry hero in the meta. If you haven't seen the build, it's typically Wand 3 branches into Bassi. That Bassi turns into Mana Boots, and then it's really hard to actually kick this hero out of lane when it rushes Mana Boots. Plus, it feeds mana to its support, so it becomes really obnoxious to play the laning stage, like really annoying. And then yeah, it's just good scaling. In terms of items, you just go, even though they did just nerf Manta, which hurts Medusa very hard, you scale. You go Butterfly, Scotty, like that type of line. And Butterfly is so good right now. You just own in the late game. Then we have Troll Warlord, a hero that got buffed. It's been buffed, honestly, a lot as of late. They also just buffed Sanjin Yasha, one of this hero's favorite items, Maelstrom. Not gonna repeat myself. And yeah, it's just a lane dominator. Like, I'm a fan of Troll. I think people give this hero like unnecessary hate. I think its ulti is fine. Especially nowadays, it's like pretty easy to control if you're gonna get value out of it. You know, you can buy Ags if they have a bunch of Ghost Scepters and shit as well, so like there's an answer to a lot of the popular anti-troll items. And you can use items during Battle Trance now. You can use Beekeeper, you can use Manta if you buy that item. You can use Abyssal. You can even use Blink if it's not cancelled somehow, right? So you can use Battle Fury if you're against a Furion, you know, whatever it is, whatever you need to do, you can do it. I think the hero's fine. It's actually can hit really hard timings and flash farms very quickly. Yeah, I'm a fan. Then we have Gyrocopter. I've been thinking Gyro's been good for a while now. Like, ever since Gyro was this Giga S tier carry, and then he got nerfed a bunch, but not that hard. I think what happened was a video came out of Yatoro saying that he didn't like Gyro. People heard that, and Gyro got nerfed, and they're like, this hero's terrible. But I think, like, Gyro is not meant to be... What he specifically said was that Gyro, his main point, his main gripe, is that Gyro can't 1v1 a lot of carries. And that's true. That is not what Gyro is good for. But Gyro is an incredibly reliable laner that plays high tempo and can hit it a 25-30 minute timing or a 20-25 minute timing where the enemy carry isn't fully ready, or you're just simply out farming them and then you end the game right there. You play fast. And I know I've been saying like tempo is not the way to go, but because it's such a good laner, easy to play, this hero's buttons are not hard. It's easy, good laner, flash farms, and it scales, right? It's not like it scales giga poorly. It can man up okay. You get, eventually in the late game, you get some sort of dataless butterfly Ags, Satanic. You can deal crazy damage with this hero, and I think it deserves to be an A tier. Then we have Wraith King. Wraith King! Oh my god, it's here again! How is Wraith King still a Hydra carry after being nerfed a ton? Well, they buffed the Radiance, to be fair. This Radiance item gives way too much evasion. There's that. Then we have Bristleback. I know, it's funny, in my last video I had Bristleback like bottom of the bottom, but now I believe this hero is just a great Dota hero. I've really started to look back into it, and I've been super impressed with all the replays I've been watching. Either Bloodstone first or Ags first. Both feel great, and the Bloodstone item is just so insane on Bristle. It lets you buy a Voidstone now, it lets you buy a buffed Voodoo Mask, it gives the AoE bonus, which is just so insane with the Ags and with the Shard. Everything about Bloodstone is just nasty. Then they buffed Kaya Sanj. Eternal Shroud is an insane Dota item. Like, I think just so much in terms of the items of the meta are going well for this hero. Then we have Luna, who Manta got nerfed, but in terms of reliable carries, top tier carries, I think Luna just deserves to be a solid top A tier. It can get kited, but like, it's like such a strong laner. It's just reliable laner that farms like a madman, and then can end the game. It's easy to play. Like, just learn the recipe and you're gonna have good success on the hero. And then finally, for the S tiers, number 1, we have Drow, one of the highest winner heroes of the patch. Just buffed to multi-shot. It's been an A tier carry for me for a while now. Even though it's not picked in the pro scene, it is occasionally, typically as a response to TV or Morphling, just because of the armor pierce. But I think it's honestly, even at the pro scene, a little undervalued. The hero's biggest weakness is like the TA SF weakness, where if not protected or like PA, they can just kind of die, right? This hero is a terrible HP pool. It's not great at defending itself. Like, you can take a point in Gust, but that often won't save. But if you play a very safe game, where you go D-Lance, you take your Ancients. When you have D-Lance, you just get a ton of levels from taking Ancients, mid-wave, Ancients, mid-wave, bottom wave, Ancients. If you do some nonsense like this, they just buff Shadowblade. They buffed multi-shot by a ton, which giga helps this hero for farming and fighting. The cooldown is 3 seconds better at max, which is massive. You'll notice that Drow is just a way better Dota hero. This hero is straight up incredible. It's very, very strong right now. So Drought, scaling, insane. Laning stage in pubs, good because there's a lack of synergy. People have to go on you at the same time. If they don't, you'll just poke them out with frost arrows. But all right, let's get into the best carry of the patch, which is Lifestealer. Yeah, Lifestealer, I hate playing against Lifestealer. You can see in my bans here, my top 3 bans. Maybe I should change Sven with like Luna, but in terms of my top carries, it's definitely, I mean, this is like a pub thing. I don't think Drow and Super High Mamar is that good, so I wouldn't put her here. But yeah, Lifestealer is just obnoxious. Like, Radiance being so good, Sanj and Yasha being so good, and it's like the best buyer of these items in the game, right? Like, I would argue something like Brewmaster is a better Radiance buyer, but like the combination of Radiance, Sanj, and Yasha, there's no better hero. Maybe Alchemist is a close second, right? I think that's a fair argument, but it's just such an abuser of these broken items, and that often makes the meta. They just nerf the hero, doesn't matter. It does not matter. It is an S tier hero. It's very good against a lot of the strength offlane meta. And yeah, it scales like crazy. Like this hero, every time I see it, I'll see it. I'm like, oh, it's 2k behind the Luna. It's 3k, it's 4k net worth behind the Luna. Teamfight happens. His items are just way too good. I mean, sure, Lifestealer's a man-up carry anyway, but what happens is he'll save someone because Infest heals for like 8 billion, especially when you get the 20 talent, and then you just destroy. Like, people can't fight you. Eventually you just get like, you get like BKB later on. I'm such a big fan of Lifestealer BKB. A lot of people won't buy it. I think this hero's win rate would be higher if people actually bought BKB. Like, Lifestealer BKB is insane because it closes the gap from the first rage to the second rage. You just get like 15 seconds of BKB. It's ridiculous. But all right, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you disagree or agree with anything on this list, I'd love to hear it in the comment section down below. You can get as mad at me as you possibly want. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace!